Hello and welcome. Our top focus continues to remain on South Africa and President Cyril Ramaphosa's high-stakes visit to Washington. His visit is seen as an attempt to mend ties that have suffered a razor blow since Trump stormed to power. Now, we have been telling you about that on this show. Ramaphosa meets with President Donald Trump today, and it comes at a volatile time because Trump has repeatedly accused South Africa of persecuting the white minority and has pushed a charge that he believes is white genocide. Ramaphosa's office has now challenged this claim, and South Africa wants Trump to prove it. A statement by the South African presidency reads, "We need to reset the relationship, but more importantly, iron out issues of concern that may exist." Now, the statement further added that some of the claims made by the US are outright disinformation. The onus of backing these allegations and unproven remarks should be taken by the US. That's what the South African government is arguing. On the 12th of May, Trump welcomed home a group of white South Africans and offered them, quote unquote, refugee status, and they were granted asylum. Their refugee applications were fast-tracked, and these individuals were transported on a chartered flight. Such practices by the US administration are rare. Typically, they involve shackling immigrants, restraining and handcuffing, and labeling them as animals or aliens. So when these white South Africans were resettled, Trump faced questions over the preferential treatment.
I want to ask you about South African refugees. Dozens of Afrikaners who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States, right, where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something. But we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of. But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white.
While Ramaphosa is looking to salvage trade ties, this is also a major issue that he wants to address with Trump. South Africa says such arguments are damaging to its reputation, and it will strongly object if the US continues with similar resettlement programs. Some Afrikaner groups also claim that the white farmers are being categorically murdered, but South African police say that there's no evidence to support this. Official data shows that most murder victims in South Africa are actually young black men. So that's the first sticking point in the US-South Africa bilateral relations. Another one that could be a roadblock in this episode is South Africa's 2024 genocide case against Israel. It filed a case against Israel at the International Court of Justice because of Israel's military campaign in Gaza. The US, which is a staunch backer of Israel, slammed South Africa for its move. That's when bilateral relations started getting worse. So on one hand, Ramaphosa will look to prioritize trade with Trump. On the other, he will try to defend his country's reputation. South Africa, once a symbol of resistance, now finds itself accused of similar patterns it fought against. Now, for more on this, we have with us on the show Dr. Kwaku Nuama, who is a professor of international studies at the American University, joining us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Alyson.
Now, how significant is President Ramaphosa's challenge to the U.S. claims of white persecution in South Africa, particularly in the context of past diplomatic tensions between the two nations?
I don't think it's that big of a deal because these are disputed claims, and he has bigger issues to worry about. So this meeting that he's having in Washington, he needs to just concede a point. He's not going to change Trump's mind on this stuff. Most of Americans don't agree with how the administration has handled this issue. But I think that for a visiting foreign leader, he should just concede a point, promise to do better, and go on to the things that really matter. I don't think that this is a big deal at all.
Right. And Dr. Nuama, what impact could these unproven white genocide claims have on South Africa's global image and its ability to maintain balanced international partnerships, especially with Western nations?
So it could have some negative effects, but generally speaking, these are discredited reports. And because they are discredited, South Africa can actually manage the fallout properly. Actually, I think what's happening is the surfacing of white victimhood narratives serves to remind people of the privileged status that white people enjoyed under apartheid, and it's bringing to fore all the evils of the apartheid era. And that is actually giving the ANC some global sympathy, because now everybody is being reminded of how big of a mess they inherited from all those years of apartheid misrule and the problems that they inherited. And it's actually helping the ANC in terms of being able to blame some of his own misfortunes on the inherited situation. And also the fact that you still have residual sense of entitlement among the white minority who still dominate the economy in South Africa, serves to remind people of how tough it is to move beyond apartheid and the legacy of apartheid in South Africa. So the ANC, if they play this well, can easily mobilize global support behind this cause. And I don't think that this is something that is going to affect South Africa's image in a negative way, in a sustainably negative way at all. I think that this is something that it comes with context, and it reminds people of how bad things were in South Africa under apartheid and how bad things are and how unreconstructed post-apartheid South Africa still is.
Right. And in your view, what are the key issues that Ramaphosa and Trump are likely to prioritize during this Washington meeting? And how might the persecution narrative influence the tone or the outcome of the discussions?
So the fact that Ramaphosa is here shows that the relationship is important to the United States. The United States is South Africa's second largest trading partner, and there's a trade deficit there, and Trump is obsessed with deficits. It's an 8.8 billion trade deficit. South Africa buys less from the United States. There's a reason for that. Trump doesn't want to go into that. He's interested in addressing this deficit. For Cyril Ramaphosa, there is the problem of the tariffs. There's a 30% tariffs on South African exports to the United States, about 25% on export of automobile parts alone. So he needs to focus on that instead of dealing with this side issue of the rights of the sense of grievance among a small minority of the Afrikaner population, which I think Donald Trump is actually exploiting them to placate his white racist base in the United States. And they're going to find out quickly that anything that Trump gives can be taken away by the next president of the United States. The moment Trump leaves office, all of these things go away, the same way that things that Biden gave to people from Venezuela and Haiti has been taken away by Trump. So I hope that he focuses on the things that matter, which is South Africa's economy and how he can maintain a relationship that's beneficial. There are 600 American businesses in South Africa. They have real issues, and those are the things that I think these two leaders need to talk about, and not the side issue of the grievances of a small minority.
Absolutely. Doctor, thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa and for your valuable insights.
Thanks for having me.
At Firstpost, we are choosing to hold on to accuracy. That means we won't always be first. We may not get you your breaking alert. But what you will get is what we owe you. And that is the truth. verified, checked, and cross-checked. We rely on sources and verified ones. After all, that's what separates a journalist from a loudspeaker. But sometimes even we miss a beat, and when we do, we will tell you. Like yesterday, we ran visuals from a registered news agency. That visual turned out to be fake, so we are taking accountability. And from now on, we will cite the source of every visual, every picture, every video that you see on Firstpost will have a source mentioned. That is our commitment to you. We will wait, we will verify, we will ask again, and only then will we tell you. No noise, no panic, just the facts. Because right now, that is what the country needs most.